Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Ajulam here. Thank you so much for stopping by. Guys, thank you so much for the love and support so far. I'm really grateful, and if this is your first time of checking out my channel, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you get to know anytime I put up a new video. So for today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a trendy layered ruffled flower girl dress. So if you're interested, let's move on. So this line is my starting point, okay, and the shoulder for this dress, actually I'm making this dress for a 7-year-old baby girl. So the shoulder is 11 inches. So 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. Okay, so this is 5.5 here. Then I'll come down by 1/2 inch, which is the shoulder slope. Okay, then the bodice length is 12 inches, but we're making it 13. 1 inch is for my seam allowance, so this is 13 inches here. Okay, I'll mark it all out. Then I will connect. Okay, so now the neck width I'll be using is 2 3/4. So I will insert the 2 3/4 here. Okay, this is the 2 3/4, and for this area, the neck depth, I'll use the same thing, which is here, so that by the time I finish sewing, I'll end up having 3 inches. So I'll connect. Like I said earlier, or rather, this dress is going to have a yoke. Okay, that's why I'm drafting it out first on this paper. So now I'll connect this point to this point here. Okay, so the armhole is 5 inches. I will insert my 5 inches here. Okay, and I'll put in, so here I will fix in the shoulder, which is 5.5 here, and I'll connect to this point. So now this is the chest line. Okay, so I'll check what I have from this point to this point. Here I have 5, half of that is 2.5. Okay, so here I will come in by 3/4 inch, which is here, and the chest is 26 inches. Okay, so 26 inches divided by 4 is 6.5, and I'll add 1 inch for my seam allowance. Okay, then I'll connect. Okay, so this is it. Now for the waist, the waist is 25 inches. So 25 divided by 4 is 6.25. Okay, so this is 6.25, and I'll add 1 inch for seam allowance, and I'll connect. Okay, so here we have what I'll be using to draft the front. Okay, so this I'll use it to cut it out on my net, and let me just show you how to cut the satin. For the satin, for the front side, I'll be taking 4.5 from the shoulder here. Okay, so I'll mark 4.5 here, and I'll connect to a straight line. Okay, so now I will just give it any shape I want on this area. So I'll just come down by, say, 1/2 inch, because because I don't want it to be too down, and I'll just connect with hand like this. Okay, so now I will take this and place it up like this. Okay, because this will be the pattern for the satin, for the inner satin for the front. Okay, let me just make this to a straight line. I just pin it so that it will be easy for me. Okay, so now remember, this is the line. Okay, this is where I want the satin to start for the inner of the front side. So now I will now put in that ½ inch here and connect it back. Okay, so this is the ½ inch here. It is here, and I'll just use my hand and just trace it and join the line. Like I said, here if you can decide how deep you want it, but for me I don't want it that deep. Okay, so after marking it, I will now turn my paper. So I will now turn my paper the other side, as you can see, and I'll just cut it out together with this. Alright, so let me just do that. As you can see, it is the same now with this. So I'll remove the pin, and this is what I have for the satin. All I have to do now is to just give it this slight curve here, and that is just that. So I will just trim this off. Okay, like I said earlier, you can decide how deep you want this area to be. Okay, so this is it. This is what I'll use to cut out the satin. Right, so this is the shape. But when cutting out this on your main fabric, for this area, add ½ inch for your seam. Okay, so that by the time you sew and turn it over, you still have exactly the same length, so that you now have shortages. So now let me show you how to cut the back. So for the back, this is my starting point. So the length is 12 inches plus 1 inch for seam, making it 13. So this is 13. Okay, and we'll connect. Okay, so now I'll mark out 1 inch for my zip allowance. Please, if you're hearing any noise, please ignore. The weather today is not favorably, it's raining heavily. Okay, so this is 1 inch for my zipper allowance. So from this point, I will insert the shoulder measurement, which is 5½. Okay, I'll come down again by 1 inch. Remember the neck width, I use 2 3/4, which is here, and I'll connect to this point. Okay, so now the armhole is 5 inches, which is here. The shoulder measurement is 5½. You should be familiar with this by now if you have been watching my videos. So I'll connect, and this is the chest line. Okay, so here now, the back, I want it to really drop, so I'll be using 6 inches for the back. It's an open back, so but it's up to you. If you don't want it this open, you can use 5. If you want it more, you can use 7, but I'll be using 6. So this is the 6 here. I will just connect it to this point here. So I will use this to give it the shape that I want. Okay, and connect. This is how I want it. Okay, so now I'll fix in the chest, which is here. The chest is 6.5, that is 26 divided by 4, 6.5 plus 1 inch for my seam. Then the waist is 6.25 plus my 1 inch for seam, and I'll connect. Okay, so here, remember when cutting the back here, there'll be no need to come in like I did in the front part. So here I'll just connect it straight like that. Alright, and the back is ready. So the next thing now is this area here. I'll come up by 1/4 inch. You know, the front and the back is not of the same shape. So here, this is 1/4 inch here. I will just connect it to this point. Okay. Make sure it joins here so that by the time you join the front, it will not be longer than this back. So this is how simple it is to cut out the back pattern. So now let me just trace it out, and I will show you how to cut out the satin as well for the back part. Satin, I'll just pin it first. Here you can choose where you want it, but my own, I'll be making it very small. Okay, so I'll just, here is okay for me. So I'll pin it. So after pinning it, I'll just turn it over and cut it out. Okay, so I'll just cut it out. Okay, so now I'll remove this, and but remember, when you're cutting out this on your main fabric, always add your allowance only on this upper part. Okay, so now that is it. Let me just place it on my fabric and I'll cut it out. Parts, this is my satin. This is where I'll be fixing in the ruffles. Okay, so here I have 1 yard of satin, and I'll just fold like this. I just fold into 2 and I'll move it like this. Okay, a little, because I want it to have a little flare. Okay, so I'll just fold like this, and the length of this dress is 33, so I'll minus 33 from the bodice length, which is 12, and I'll have 21. So I'll be making this down part 21 plus 1.5 for seam, that is 22.5. Okay, so I'll check what I have here. Okay, so here let me just mark out a line here as my starting point. Okay, so this, and remember you have to keep this area should be straight towards you. Okay, so just mark out the line as my starting point. Okay, so the waist is 25. 25 divided by 4 is 6.25, which is here. Okay, and I'll add a little because I'll be putting in 1 inch for my zipper allowance. Okay, so this is 6.25 here, and this is 1 inch for my zipper allowance. Okay, yeah, so this is 1 inch for my zipper allowance. Then I will mark out from here the 22.5 inch. I hope you can see that. Okay, so this is 22.5 inch. I'll mark that all the way down. Okay, this is 22.5, and I'll cut it out, as you can see. Okay, so I'll just cut it out. Let me just do that quickly. This is what I have after cutting it out. This is where I'll be fixing in my ruffles. Okay, so now let me cut out the nets. Okay, but if you want this to be more fuller than this, or you want it to be more like a circle flare, all you have to do is to refold it in such a way that it will give you what you want. So let me just show you how to cut out the net. Okay, before that I will mark in my lines where I'll be fixing in the ruffles. Okay, remember the length for this down now we are using 21 inches. So since it is a 6-layered dress, all I have to do is to divide that 21 by 6, and it will give me 3.5. So now I will just mark out 3.5. Okay, I'll just mark all the 3.5 on this line. So here I'm supposed to have 6 lines. Let me just mark it out and show you. It out, this is what I have. Okay, so if you're cutting your lining and your hard net, you make sure you use exactly like this for the hard net and the lining. So now here I'm fixing the 3.5. So I will check the length of the net. For this I would like to use 4 inches for the net. So now I'll cut out my net in 4 inch by 4 inches. Okay, I'll cut out as many that can be enough for this line, for these 6 lines here. So let me just remove my net. So this is the net. I have a lot of it. So now, like I said, I'll be using 4 inches, but I'll add half for my seam. Sorry, yes, for my seam. Okay, so I will now mark out 4.5, okay, on the net after folding it very well. Okay, so now all I have to do is just to mark out the 4. Let me just do all that quickly. Cut them out, though I will still need more. For this dress, I think the tulle I have up to 6 yards, and maybe I might end up using all. Okay, so now I will just join them together. Okay, because I have them in pieces, I'll just join them together. After joining together, I will now use my gather stitch and sew. Then I'll drag it, but before that, let me join the upper part and show you. So for this upper part, I'll be using an applique for this. Okay, so I will start with the satin. As you can see, this is my lining. I cut it out exactly the same way I did for the satin. So now I will join the satin and the lining first. Okay, so I'll just take it and sew it all the way down to this armhole point here. So let me just do that first. Okay, as you can see, this is the front. I've joined it with the lining. Okay, and I did the same for the back. So now I will take this up and I will just pin it. Okay, I'll pin it first. So this is the front. I have pinned it very well. I will do the same on the back. So I have the front and back ready. I will now take the back and place it over. Now I will join the shoulder together and I will do the same on the lining. I'm using the same net as the lining because this net is very soft. It's not an itchy kind of net. So now I will join the 2 shoulders and I will do the same on this one that I will be using as lining. So let me just do that. So I have joined the shoulders together, as you can see. Okay, so now I'll just open it up and I'll use this which I'm using for the lining and place it over the front. Make sure the front is facing each other. Then I will take it to my sewing machine and I will sew it all the way around, and I will also sew the armhole area as well. So let me just do that quickly and I will show you the look of the upper parts. So this is what I have after joining. Okay, this is the back. This is the back, while this is the front. So I will set this aside and then I will take my net. Like I said earlier, I will just join and use my gather stitch to run it. So let me just do that quickly. is what I have. Okay, so I'll take my satin and place it on top. Okay, so I'll place it. This is the first one. I'll just place it on this first line here. Okay, and I'll pin it all through. This is it. So let me just pin it all through and I'll show you. pinning it, this is what I have. Okay, so I will just use my sewing machine and I will run all the lines through. Okay, I'm done with that. As you can see from here, you can see that I ended up having 8 layers. As you can see, this is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So if you want to make it to be 6 layers, all you have to do is to extend your nets. Like this one I used 4.5. Half is the for the seam. Okay, so you can extend your own to 6 inches for the net. Okay, so that by the time you're done, you end up having 6 layers. So this here is 8. Okay, and I really like it like this. So now I will take the upper part and I will join it with this. I will now close it up. Okay, I'll just mark out the chest and the waist and I'll close it up. Then I will join it with the down part. After that, I will now fix in my applique. I just cut this out from a lace. Okay, so let me just join it first and I'll show you. I have joined it together with the upper part, as you can see. So now I will just fix in the applique. Okay, so I will just trace it and I'm going to use my hand to stitch this on this dress. After that, I will now close it up. Okay, I didn't close it up so that it will be easy for me to fix this. So let me just fix this quickly and I'll close it up. Then I will show you guys the final look of the dress. After fixing in the applique, and as you can see, I added beads to it, right, so that it will add a little spice to the dress. Okay, so let me just add this one. Then I will use my hard net and fix on the dress and I'll close it up. Okay, so let me just do that first and I'll show you guys. Okay, I'm done with this one here. So the next is my net. This is my hard net. I've already sewn it on the lining. To see more on this, you can check my video on how to make a party dress and you can see how to fix this step by step on the lining. So now I will take my lining and join with the dress. Okay, Dress, I've joined everything together. The only thing remaining now is to fix the bow in the front and at the back as well. As you can see, the dress is looking so beautiful. Okay, for the zip, you can check my video on how to fix an invisible zip to a ball gown, and you will see how to do that very easy. So guys, that is it for today. Please subscribe to my channel, like, share, comment on this video, and I will see you on the next one.